Good morning, Professor. Today, on this oral presentation, focus on critical thinking and author's perspective, I'm going to talk about the Mistborn novel written by Brandon Sanderson. On this novel, topics such as rebellion, factions power, and regime falls are explored. In order to fundament this presentation, sources such as the essays written by Brandon Sanderson on how he created the Mistborn series and a newspaper called El Nuevo Siglo to explore recent events on Latin America's history were used. Let's start with Brandon's perspective. Brandon states that any dictator can be defeated, any regime can fall. And how? By a group of people working together, by a group of people chasing a better future, chasing well-being, and fueled by hope. But making a dictator fall requires planning, requires a plan on how to defeat him. But most important, and this is the main focus on Brandon Sanderson's story, what happens next? What happens when the dictator falls? In order to power this story, Brandon makes some assumptions about human nature and systems. First of all, we have that human nature is to look for freedom. It's to chase well-being, chase a better future. Also, he states or believes that any system is ruled by rules. And if we if we discover the rules, if we understand the system, we can defeat it. In order to support these ideas, on the story we found a crew. The crew that leads to the rebellion, that seeks for a better future, for well-being for everyone, and a magic system that works with rules. In order for you to receive something, you must give something in exchange. I agree with Brandon's idea about the aftermath being the most important part. We have recent examples related to recent stories, such as in Venezuela with the capture of Nicolas Maduro. Also, not that recent but important is the capture of Manuel Noriegas, a recent dictator of Panama. Both of these captures made by the United States government. And to what lead these captures? To a chaos, to a vacuum of power. And who was there to occupy this space, the space that the dictator left? Well, in this case, the United States. Defeating a dictator is not the real important part, is what's going to happen next. Also, I partially agree with the idea of a crew. I think Brandon's make a good point, but I believe it contradicts itself because even the crew has a leader, someone to follow, someone to look after. And after this leader dies, even his memory is what the crew uses to continue fighting and to finally defeat the dictator. I use critical thinking by comparing the real life examples, as I said, with Venezuela and Panama, to compare the situation that happens after a dictator falls. But also we have the French Revolution example. After it happened, it led to the chaos reign of terror.